Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have my Adamancipator deck profile for March of 2022. This is the deck that I take to locals and try and do my best with. So let's kick things off with the Adamancipator tuners. So in my opinion you have to play 3 of each. So we're playing 3 Researcher, 3 copies of Seeker, and 3 copies of Analyzer. So in my opinion, you have to maintain 3 copies of each card. Because of grinding in the late game, early game, and mid game. Mid game, you get the cards off of mainly either Rap type or the Fire Synchro, Leonite. And then late game, you'll be able to summon them through their effects. Like you'll be able to grab a Researcher off Granite or a Seeker, summon it, and then get some more extension onto the board. And early game, cards like Analyzer allow you to special summon themselves for free, and are overall better at making rank 8s. That starts it off. Then we'll go into the excavates. I am playing 3 copies of Meiru Guardian, 3 copies of Meiru Supplier, 3 copies of Rocksies, 2 copies of Doki, 1 Sandman, and 1 Dragite. These I wouldn't change. These, from my testing, these ratios are optimal. So we have 3 Guardian. Guardian allows you to play through cards like Nibiru, Ash, Veiler, any sort of monster negate. And the combo of Researcher plus Guardian allows you to play through any one negate in the game pretty much. Normal summon Guardian, Researcher summon, Imperm the Researcher, cool, make out. Then we have 3 copies of Supplier. Supplier is insane. You can't play the deck without this card. It allows you to regain your resources in your hand, whilst also being a free extender from hand. Card's nutty, and if you use cards like Analyzer, which don't require a normal, you summon it out, special summon, then you grab a Guardian, you'll still be able to normal summon that Guardian, which is pretty cool. Then we have 3 Rocksies. Rocksies is probably the best card in this deck. I know it's an Adamancipator deck, but Rocksies is just a draw, a link 2, and a level 4 on board, just in the 1 card, which is pretty insane. Then we have 2 Doki. You could play 3 in a more budget build. You could probably cut like 1 Supplier for a Doki. Obviously that's not optimal, but Doki, the problem with it is it loses to pretty much any hand trap in the game. If you start with a normal summon Doki pitch, you're most likely going to be losing that game. Then we'll start off with Dragite. Dragite is pretty good. You could probably play 2 with this if you want to. I'm playing Sandman instead of the second one. Dragite allows you to draw a card whilst doing your combos, and is just a generic level 4 extender. So yeah, that's pretty much all to say about that card. You're not going to use the effect to summon itself. Sandman. Sandman's a bit of a tech card I'm playing. I don't know about anyone else, but in my locals there's a lot of monkey trap decks. So Sandman allows me to play around like floodgates like Tikaboo or Summon Limit. If I Researcher, summon Sandman, that pretty much protects you from any trap in the game. So yeah, that's all the excavates. Then for the other monsters, we have 3 copies of Parallel Exceed, 1 Dropsies, and 1 Plaguespreader. So Exceed is incredible. If you open Exceed plus a way to make a link, which is most of your deck, you are winning that game, because you can either, if you have enough extenders in hand, you can just hold this until you make Apollousa. Then when you make Apollousa, summon it and make a Dweller. I've also been considering playing Link Spider in the deck, just so if you actually do play and you don't open the Guardian, you get Nibiru that you can link off the token, summon this, make get Granite, summon, Researcher, and that's pretty much full combo. So yeah, 3 copies of Exceed, 1 Dropsies. This is mandatory for the Prank-Kids engine. You could play the other ones, I just prefer Dropsies. Because it's also a Water Engrave, which isn't really needed because you get it in the Halq combo anyway. But in case you don't make Halq, Dropsies is there. And Plaguespreader, which is just our summon of Halq. Plaguespreader is personally the best one to make because it's 2 monsters in 1. Then for the hand traps, we are playing 2 Nibiru, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, and 2 Cosmic Cyclone. So unfortunately Nibiru's in here because it is a bit of a sometimes but not all the time card, because personally this is pretty much based around my locals. Nibiru's very good when it comes up, you're winning the game, because there is an Agnister player, there's a PK player, the card will come up, but there's also Flunder, there's also other Floodgate decks where this card's just easy side out. Then we have Ash. Ash is my favourite hand trap of all time. It's just one of the most generic hand traps ever, and it's pretty good against the PK matchup, because when you use the Bardiche effect or the Taunt Scales effect, you just Ash them and you're pretty much winning. Then we have 3 in Perm, and I guess it also serves the same function. 2 Cosmic. I wanted a main deck out to Artifact Scythe, because this deck hard loses to Scythe. The only way to play around it is to really summon a Guardian, but then again they're probably going to have DP on board to walk over the Guardian. So yeah, Cosmic's obviously better, because it allows you to banish the Scythe, but Imperm also allows you to negate it. Either that or the DP, whatever you feel is best at that moment. Then rounding out the deck, we have 3 copies of Signs, the best extender in the deck. If you're playing less than 3, you're not playing the deck correctly, because Signs is a not once per turn monster reborn, which stacks your deck and is overall generic because it's also any rock monster, which does come up. Right, that's it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. Now in the extra deck we're playing 1 Almiraj. Almiraj is very important because it allows you to, if you open Exceed plus like Dragite or Dropsies, you can normal summon, make Almiraj, and pretty much pop off from there. Then 1 Meow-Meow-Mu, and obviously 1 Bark. In hindsight, this should be the wind one. You can pretty much play either one you want. This is just the one I had. This just facilitates the Prank Kid cards. Then we have 1 IP Masquerena. It's just generic interruption. And rounding out the link twos, 1 Halq. Halq is not going to need an explanation. Then we have 1 Unicorn for the IP, 1 Borrelsword, this should be an access code, and then 1 Apollousa. You can really play either or on Borrelsword access code. Obviously access code is better, but this deck can just get resources out of nowhere, so you can make Borrelsword quite convincingly easily. Then onto the Xyz. Granite, Duella, this is for Xyz really. You can make it outside of Xyz, it's just normally pretty crusty when you do that. Then for the Adamancipator Synchros, we're playing 1 Raptite, 1 Leonite, and 1 Dragite. You don't have to play Leonite, I just felt like playing it because I like to max out on the Adamancipator cards, because this is an Adamancipator deck. I quite like playing Leonite. When you Leonite hit Signs, you feel like you're the best player in the world. Then rounding it out, we have 1 Savage and 1 Crystal Wing. Yeah, Crystal Wing comes up because you want to attack over a big monster. You can just like get rid of it pretty much. And yeah, it's overall pretty good. So we shall move on to the side deck. Now then, in the side deck we have 2 Artifact Lancia. Lancia is just a pretty good card for the PK matchup. It's also really good for pretty much anything that banishes, especially Flunder. This is an auto win versus Flunder. Then we have 3 copies of Gamma Seal or Sea Turtle Kaiju. As I mentioned earlier, there is an Agnister player, there's Sky Striker players, there's pretty much a lot of meta, so Gamma Seal helps be over those cards. Then we have 3 copies of Dynamite Prank Drops, or 1 Prank 2 Alpha, same thing. Personally, I really like Alpha. The fact that you can summon it, bounce, summon it again to either use a link fodder or attack over like another monster, it serves as like more than Prank. because you can summon it, attack, bounce, summon it, and then use it as link fodder as a Pank, where you have to use it once, and that's about it. Obviously the reason why Pank is better is because it's a quick effect. It can out pretty much anything that they want to chain. Then we have 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Ghost Ogre is a really good card, especially this format. I just didn't really feel like I had room to put it in the main. You can obviously put it in the main if you have them. 1 reboot and 3 twin. I just wanted more back row hate because this deck really hard loses to back row. But yeah, that back rounds everything off. So, if you liked, please like and subscribe. I plan to do some test hands and some more things at Adamancipators in the future. Thank you and peace.